Hey, we're live. All right. Thanks to anybody who's already tuned in and joining. We usually will chit chat for a few minutes to allow people to join in, but this is the Band of Bards Comics Chat live stream. We still don't have a really good fancy title for it. I don't know if I should call it the Bardcast or not.
I don't know. I think you should have a dance that you
No.
do.
Cool intro video.
That was shot down so fast.
I can do the chicken dance.
That works.
Yeah. I mean, that is pretty... That's a local specialty, that's for sure. And, have a little plate of pierogi here and do the chicken dance for the intro.
Make the pierogi do the chicken dance?
No, have some pierogi here to eat and then do the chicken dance.
How are those related?
What if we fed the pierogi to chickens?
He has chickens. Bring your chickens on the live stream.
No. Oh my god, that would be chaos. Pierogies are Polish, and the chicken dance is just like a Polish thing. At least like around here. Yeah. I mean, it probably is different everywhere you go, but like here, if you have a Polish wedding, you know the fucking chicken dance is happening. I don't know. Yeah, so guys, CJ Hudson, Robyn Singer, and Elyse Russell all joining us tonight. All three are bards, which is really cool. Been working on taming down my swearing.
Why?
I don't know why. I just feel like I should. But yeah, thank you for all hopping in.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. I really appreciate it.
I don't appreciate it. I hate all of you.
Fair enough. There's nothing new in my world.
How many people are on this? Can we see?
It varies. So this we'll use it in StreamYard, so it will simulcast to Twitch, YouTube, and directly into the Twitter feed. So like a lot of people will. That's Chris for anybody who doesn't know.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Chris.
I can't respond in the chat channel though. I guess I don't have to.
You can't. That's weird. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Well, CJ!
CJ hit a wrong button.
CJ, come back.
Oh god, we're disappearing 101.
You know he's over there like,
For me.
fuck.
I accidentally
Ew.
did something.
I was gonna suggest we eat Tim to make sure the two of us survive.
I accidentally hit login and it took me out.
You messed up the order now, though.
That's
I know,
also though why
on the
we spend the
left. I
first
don't know
few
how I-
minutes just kind of screwing around and not really getting into anything right off the bat. But no, it gives people to, like I said, so Twitch, YouTube, and to the Twitter feed. So you'll get a pretty decent count from Twitch. But like I can see Twitch, I've got the window open here too, and it shows that there's
He's watching
five-
look at his face.
5 people in there, and then up here in the StreamYard thing, it's only showing that there's 3 people. So it's hard to tell exactly how many are in at any time, but then we definitely get way more viewers just during the weekend and week checking out the recorded.
Yeah.
I don't know how great of a time slot this is, but sometimes you just gotta do stuff when you can do it.
Yeah, totally get it.
Yeah, I think everybody in comics understands that.
Yeah.
Before we went live, we were talking about how we got all of our different work done. I thought that was pretty interesting, hearing some stories about how we all kind of steal a little bit of time from different things to get our work done.
Yeah.
Is that Jar?
No,
Everybody's
it's
right
Evie and
different
she needs to
ways.
go to bed. Shh.
Yeah, I always find it
Mommy's on a
interesting.
call.
People's writing habits and how they operate. Like some people devote certain amounts of time in a day, like in the evening or the morning. Some people do like page count. Some people do by script count, and some people have totally different styles. I always find that really interesting. Like for me to keep up with my current output with deliverables for different publishers, I have to write 2 scripts a month. And so I just basically say, okay, I need to devote the first 15 days to one and the first 15 days of the month to another. And typically try to do it anytime I can find a time in a day, like at least 4 pages a day or something to hit the deadline.
Yeah.
And Elyse, you like to write in the woods or something, you told me once, right? Like you go out
No. I mean, yes. When I can, I take my notebook out in the woods.
Are you
But
sampling mushrooms as you do that?
no, you could get killed doing that, man. I don't know what shit is poisonous.
Hey, the stories that you come up with, you never know.
Really?
What? That's a compliment.
Oh. He reads the script. It's like she's eating mushrooms? What is this?
It might be.
So weird.
Hey, some of the stuff that's in
That's what you sound like, by the way, too.
Yeah. That's okay.
What is this?
I think Grant Morrison says that he does his most interesting work when he's on different types of drugs. So there you go, Elyse.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about Grant Morris.
I don't know who that is, so.
All you need to know is is there on Substack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've told you about Substack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag right there for sure.
I feel like everything's a mixed bag right now.
Yeah. So
Just watch. A week from now, there's going to be a ton of people getting angry at me for daring to insult Grant Morrison.
Yeah.
yeah, that's okay. People need to be criticized. Yeah. You start holding up different creators as like a holier than thou or some sort of great idol. Like, it defeats the whole
Gail
purpose.
Simone.
Yeah.
Not a fan of Gail?
No, I love Gail Simone. I'm holding her up as an idol. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Gail
She
may
can
be
do
the
no
one.
wrong.
Yeah, she may be the one unreproachable person.
No,
She seems
Gail
like a very
is
good
very much
person,
fallible.
too.
It's just that when she makes a mistake, she actually listens to the people who
Yeah.
call her out.
Yeah.
hmm I have a question for CJ.
Yeah.
What was the first comic you ever wrote?
Ooh, I ever wrote.
hmm
So I wrote a long time ago when I was like a teenager this comic called Abaddon, and I was really into Spawn at the time, and it was basically my ripoff of Spawn, and I submitted it to Dark Horse and never heard
Really?
back, and rightfully so because it was awful. And I reread it recently, found my old notebook with all my notes, and was reading through it and was really upset with how bad it was. But that's is
Not
working
salvageable
through
at all.
that bad stuff, and then also kind of realizing I think that there is no ripoff of Spawn. Spawn is like the best heaven versus hell story that you'll ever get, and so I abandoned any idea that I should ever do anything, and now I'm just determined to hopefully write Spawn someday.
Well,
Yeah.
you definitely have your opportunity with all the different.
You always
I always have
an
it. I
example
know.
right there for anything.
I have the stack right here, and like,
No,
there's
There's
always a.
always something pertinent right
Yeah.
next to you.
I can guarantee you my first comic was worse than yours.
Oh, it was bad, Robyn. I don't know.
I made
Like,
mine
you
in
and I can
6th
trade
grade.
pages and see.
Oh, I want to see it.
6th grade.
What was it about, though?
Okay, so some background. I went to a really shitty private school for elementary school, and every year there was this auction that every class had to like make a basket for, like a basket of cards, a basket of candy, etc., etc. In 6th grade, since we were the oldest grade, they decided to have us do a little something more involved. We each had to make our own comic book. But since I couldn't draw to save my life, and there was someone who couldn't write to save his life, we were paired up.
Your first collaboration. I
Yeah.
love it.
But you see, my shtick at the time was as a comedy writer. So I decided to do a parody, a superhero parody comic. I
That's
know,
funny.
how original. It
Sounds
was
funny to
called
me.
the Society of Super Leaguers, and it might be the worst comic ever made.
You and I can share our scripts. We'll see. It was pretty bad. Do people remember? Epic was after this, but do people remember when Marvel brought Epic back in the early 2000s? And they were doing,
Unfortunately.
yeah, open submissions. I wrote a Werewolf by Night story that I was really excited about, and it was awful too. So I never heard back. So those two, I think, were my first. What about you,
Wait a
Elyse?
second. You were writing submissions to Marvel in 2002?
Oh yeah,
I was
I-
4 in 2002.
dude, I'm 38.
Yeah, I am the baby here. I'm 23.
I'm 32.
Oh wow, yeah, you are. Well, that means you have a lot of runway then.
Yeah, I started writing seriously when I was 16.
Oh wow, good for you.
Yeah, I published a 100 chapter web serial over the course of 3 years. Came out to about 360,000 words.
Okay.
Massive time sink
Those are
was
some
not very
words.
good.
That's a lot of words.
Not a time sink if it was honing your skills.
Yeah, I definitely learned a lot over the course, but it was much better by the end. What was the first? I think you told me this, but tell everyone else. What was the first thing you wrote seriously?
The first comic I ever wrote was Brunhilde.
Good place to start. But what about like serious writing project though?
I had some poems published in the college, in my college, like, anthology.
Oh heck yeah!
And they had like a monthly poetry journal, and I was in
Aw.
that a lot. I have a few of the old copies sitting around somewhere.
That's cool.
Oh no, I was in the newspaper when I was in 9th grade.
Would you write
yeah,
letters to
ninth
the
grade.
editor?
No, I wrote a story that they published in just like the public newspaper for no reason.
That's pretty neat, though.
Cool.
I was going under a pen name then because I thought that I was so mysterious.
You know, it's never too early to protect your anonymity.
It's too late.
It can always, well, it can be too late, but it's never too early.
Yeah, it's too late now though. It occurred to me belatedly, like I could have picked any name I wanted to publish under. Why did I just go with my boring ass normal name? But it was too late by then.
There's a lot of cool Russells, though. I mean, you got like Kurt Russell.
Yeah,
And-
but we're not related.
No, but people can make the connection when they see the name,
Yeah, totally.
even if they
It's
don't
lies,
realize it,
and
and it's
you're
just in their head. Like, oh, I know a lot of really cool Russells. I like that.
She must be cool too.
I know.
Be trans. You get to choose whatever name you want.
There you go.
Do you know what name you would have had if you were born a boy?
I do know. I would have been Zachary.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what your parents would have picked for you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
I went with that.
Oh, that's what. Oh, really? Okay. What
Yeah.
about you, CJ? What if you were a lady, CJ?
God, I think it was gonna be like Christina or something like that.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
I could see it.
Yeah. Why
I'm just
not?
kidding. What about you, Tim?
I have no idea. I remember my parents at one point showing me like this little baby name book because my brother's like 11 years younger than me. So they pulled the same one that they had like kept from when I was a little incubator, and they pulled it out to like search for what they were going to name my brother. And I remember seeing like a whole bunch of names ticked off, and I just don't. That was a long time ago. It was a few concussions ago. But I remember there were a lot of boy names. I remember that. So I imagine there were probably a whole bunch of girl names that they had like ticked off as well.
There
I
are
was
so
close to
many.
being a Rachel.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I was just really close to being a Rachel, And my middle name is Nicole, so I would have been Rachel Nicole Russell, which is my husband's sister's name. Exactly. So that would
Whoa,
have been a
that's pretty
deterrent.
That's all kinds of awkward.
Right. He would not
Like-
have dated me.
No, I was say like you probably don't decide to date someone who has the same name as your sister or brother.
We're the same exact age, too, basically.
God.
So, what's everybody working on right now?
A lot of stuff. I think,
Awesome.
Robyn, you're probably first up, right? Cause
No, you go first. You were in the chat first.
Oh, God. That's because I'm, like, technologically not good, so I, like, signed on 30 minutes early.
Were you here before Tim?
Oh, yeah, I was in the waiting room. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, right now, I think the big thing that Elyse and I are probably working on is curating Amongst the Stars, our anthology, which is really fun, and exciting, and we kind of got it up and running like really quickly.
Do
trying to
this.
trying to remember the story. I think Elyse said we should curate something together, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then we kind of came up with a concept really quickly, and then a title really quickly, and threw together a webpage like within a weekend, and that was it. And now we're up and running and have like almost 50 submissions.
That's awesome.
One or the other of us just happened to have whatever was needed for the next step. Like, he knew what genre we wanted. I was like, okay, I'll put a title on it. He knew how to put a web page together. I'm doing like some marketing contacts and stuff like that. It's funny.
Yeah, it's actually been very
Very smooth.
complimentary and fun. And this is actually, we've worked together like a little bit, and this is the first time we've ever actually verbally spoken, but we probably message each
I
other.
didn't even know what you
multiple
looked
times
like.
during the week. Yeah. I know, yeah. You like always post pictures. I never do.
That's because someone told me I had to. They're like, if you want people to pay attention to you on Twitter, they have to know what you look like. And I was like,
My
really?
pictures always look so
Really?
goofy, so I never do it.
Well,
I'm always
own it. Put goofy selfies up. Whatever. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. It came together very, very easily.
Yeah, and that's been kind of our working relationship. I actually just randomly, Elyse and I were just mutuals, and I really needed fill-in work for my one work for hire project that I write, and was outreaching to a number of writers and kind of got burned by some. And finally I was like, I'm gonna go to this chick and see if she wants to, because she's funny.
Why'd you pick me though? Like, I didn't have anything out at the time.
You just seemed really personable. We had commented on some people's stuff, and I hadn't really picked anybody
That's
else
fair.
that I hardly knew either. And so I was just kind of looking for new voices and people that wanted to contribute, and outreach to a number of people. Two people took the deposit and ran off, and I never heard from them again.
Oh.
And
Oh no.
one person ended up having some health and personal issues, and so totally got that and backed out. Elyse was the only person that actually did the fill-in work and completed
Oh, I'm
so,
sorry.
which was really awesome. And so then it kind of like created this really big mutual respect, or at least respect from my standpoint at first, because
Yes,
I was
respect
like,
you too.
well, I mean, at least from my standpoint, because I was like, wow, here's somebody that did the work, was very professional with it, didn't balk when the publisher came back and said, hey, I need revisions, turned it in timely, and knocked it out of the park. So I was like, okay, this is somebody that I want to work with some more.
Aw, thanks.
So yeah,
I'm so glad you reached out. I saw that in my DMs and I was like,
is this guy real? Yeah.
well, at first, it's just like, I hadn't had anyone reach out. I since then have had people reach out to me to work on stuff just randomly out of the blue. But that was the first time it had happened. So, but then I was like, okay, this sounds really cool. So that was fun. It was my first published webcomic. First published comic, actually.
Yeah. Now they're all
I
being
think
collected.
that was out before Awoken or the Sentience short.
Yeah.
So thank you.
No, thank you. And it saved my bacon because I was falling behind, and I really wanted to like get some new voices on there, and now it's all being collected into individual issues. So you'll be in issue 2 when they throw that together, which is really cool. So I'll make sure you get
That's so cool.
some copies.
Yeah.
But that's not the only news Elyse has, so you should go next.
Elyse has all the news. She got a ton of stuff going on.
Yeah, she does.
Been kind of busy, guys. I'm sorry. So today actually was release day for my little prose baby, Grey Mother Mountain. Look at it. It's so little. It's
Nice.
so cute. But it's printed and the cover is amazing. And this is through Water Dragon Publishing.
Cool.
And they have a Dragon Gems program where they give short stories the full book treatment. And I was like, okay, give that a try. And now here it is, and it's gorgeous. So that is available today. I'm working on Amongst the Stars with CJ. I have 2 big projects with Band of Bards coming out. So there's Fell Witch, which is a horror graphic novella. And then Sentience is a steampunk light novel. And then I also have a couple of comic anthologies that I'm going to be in. One of them is the Down Below from Limit Break. I'll be in that one. It's a Greek noir comic.
Ooh.
And I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about my pitch, but
You probably shouldn't.
yeah, I don't think so. I mean, Robyn knows what it is because she reads all my shit. So, I'm curating an anthology for Water Dragon as well, a prose anthology. It is The Future's So Bright. Submissions are open now, and that's for positive visions of the future, sci-fi, or fantasy, or however you can spin it. And then I have another prose anthology that I'll be curating this fall with Outcast Press, and that is still top secret as far as the title and the theme, but I got to pick it. So I'm really excited about that. They're like, okay, yeah, you can go ahead, pick the theme, whatever. And I typed up a whole proposal and sent it to them, and they're like, we love it. So I'm so excited for that.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm working on the Dark Side of Purity, which is a very long running project right now that we're looking to release in 2023. Robyn's in there. It's all women coming together to talk about how we really feel about society's obsession with virginity and chastity. Not great. With a dark speculative twist. And I've been getting a few more not submissions, but a few more completed stories for that. And they just I read them and I have to back from the computer for a minute because some of them just, they're powerful. So I'm excited about that. And then there's a few other projects that I can't talk about. Yeah, I think I'm good now. You can go now, Robyn. I'm sorry.
Okay, so probably the thing I'm most known for by anyone watching this is Final Gamble.
Yeah.
The first issue has been out digitally for I think a little over a month now. Hope you all been enjoying that. Physical copies will be soon. We are so sorry we've been having some trouble with the distributor.
Read it.
I gotta keep reminding myself that everybody's going through that, but it doesn't make it any less annoying.
And as Chris posted earlier today, we are working on issue 2 right now, and it is coming along very well. Jorge's pencils are as gorgeous as ever. You guys are gonna love it. Issue 2 is when the story really starts.
Dun,
Huh?
dun, dun, dun.
Besides that, I am currently working on a fan fiction I was commissioned to write because I've got to eat. So if you got a character you like, I read all the comics. I'll happily write a fanfic for you if you pay me. You can see some samples of my work on Archive of Our Own. I'm Robyn's there. Robyn Z is how you spell that. After I finish working on that, I will be hopefully having enough motivation and drive to work on my submission to Elyse's anthology she mentioned. Repeat that title,
it's
please.
coming along fine.
No, I'm not talking about Dark Side of Purity. I'm talking about the future.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes.
Repeat that title, please, for everyone.
I'm sorry? Oh, The Future is So Bright from
The Future
Water
is So
Dragon.
Bright, yes. I have
Yeah.
a really cool pitch for that. Elyse loved it. Now I just have to actually write the story.
She knows what I like, though. So, oh, I forgot to mention one that we're both in.
Oh?
Amalgamate.
Oh! Go ahead.
You do it. It's your turn. You're on the floor. I'm talking up. No, really.
Okay, I was bluffing. I don't actually remember.
Okay, it's a charity anthology that you can take a DC character and a Marvel character and
Oh,
meld them
right.
together.
Sorry about that.
And you've got 2 in there, I think. But I was like, oh,
That's
come on,
being
if
run
I
by
can do
Chris wants to pull up their
Deadpool.
Twitter. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. We were talking over each other.
Huh?
We were talking over each other. You say what you said.
I didn't hear what you said either.
Oh, I said repeat what you said so people could hear you.
At what point did I stop? How far back do I have to go?
Just explain what the anthology is.
Going. Okay, it's you take a Marvel character and a DC character and meld them together into a new fun character and write a story about them. So I forget which ones you have, but wait, Black Canary was one of them? No.
But say who you've got.
Cassandra Cain.
Yes, I'm mixing
Yes.
Cassandra Cain and Maps Mizoguchi with Laura Kinney and Gabby Kinney, and I'm mixing Young Justice with the Young Avengers. And you are mixing Deadpool and Ambush Bug.
Deadbug.
That is all. That is all being organized by Cal Hewsett on Twitter.
Okay.
He is amazing. His art is gorgeous. You should all check him out.
Yep.
That's cool. Oh yeah, that's that anthology. There's a lot of anthologies out right now.
They're hot right now. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Great.
lot of really cool ones. It's exciting.
I still can't wrap my head around it, but like people just love anthologies, and I'm not sure what it is that draws so many people into just having so much fun with anthologies in particular.
For me, I like seeing all the different art styles together.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted an excuse to write Cassandra Cain.
I sent my script to Danny, and she was really quiet for a minute, and she's just like, "What am I gonna do with you? What is this?" So yeah, I'm not gonna give away any more than that, but it was enough to make Danny just. And she's used to my shit too. So.
Besides what I mentioned, I've got some stuff that I cannot legally talk about yet. Later this year, it's going to be cool. At least you know what I'm talking about.
I know.
But no, that's going to be really awesome. I've been working hard on it. And I'm actually doing something outside of the writing field as well. I am in the process of starting a business. I will not give all the details here because that would be a weird place to make an announcement about it. But I will say it's not writing related. Rather, it is fashion related. So
Cool.
Still on that, people. Big news coming from me.
Very cool. I think I saw you tweeting about it a bit.
Yeah, I'm dropping hints about what I'm doing.
Very cool. It's overwhelming sometimes, like all the stuff we're all trying to balance. But it's really cool just to
Thank
hear everything
God
everybody's
someti-
doing.
Thank God sometimes I don't have a day job.
Yeah. I don't know how you
Your
guys
turn,
do
Tim.
it at the Bards. Yeah, that's a good segue into all your
My turn.
projects.
What am I'm not doing anything. I'm just emailing people.
Being a publisher is
Everybody else has to do the
definitely-
work. I'm just sitting here. No,
Yeah,
I'm like
right.
I
You
make
work your butt off.
I make work for Chris to do. He's been. I'll be like, oh, we could do this graphic. We could do that. And
Wait a second, did Chris design the logo for Band of Bards?
oh yeah, like pretty much all of our design work. I think he's done. Like the only things that we have that he wouldn't have directly done himself would have been anything that's come in from any of our titles that was already like made in terms of logo work and all that. Yeah, Chris does the book design itself. So,
Cool.
man, you think out of everything I have up here? Oh wait, I'm a dummy. I do have some of ours. So, one of our local comic shops has these little like travel hard cases.
Those are awesome.
Obviously, I think
Hey,
this is just
Spawn.
what was in it. Yeah, I am a gigantic Spawn fan. So I got that, and I decided this was a great place to keep our stuff safe. So
Art department.
yeah, so the washi tape has been amazing for keeping stuff sealed up. But so right, prospects number 3.
Nice.
Nice.
Shiny.
Very good, but Chris designed that variant,
Oh, cool.
which, mainly that was, we put him up against the clock on that. But the stuff that Chris did as the book designer, right, were things like the interior covers.
Mhm.
That was all him?
Yep, all that would have been
Nice.
him.
It's incredible the amount
We
of
love you, Chris.
Yeah.
that it goes into creating a comic book, right? Like you think you just
He made
script
those up.
it, but there's so much more.
So, oh yeah.
It's great. Just think, in like
And
10 years,
Little
think
bit
of
of
how many comics you'll have on your shelf that have
hope
your company's logo.
I hope
Isn't that
so.
a cool thought?
I try to not think about that because if I distract myself and daydream about it, we'll forget to do like, like, oh, we actually have to get some made first, and then I can.
Well, you have
Sit-
now, though.
Yes, we have. But it's I try to just keep focused on the next immediate thing, and not get too caught up in thinking, oh man, we have all these comics slated, and they're just going to magically happen, and forget about all the work that we actually need to do in the meantime. So that's cool. Yeah, Chris is the whole art department for us. He was working on an advertisement today. I don't know how much I should say about it. We did back, and I need to double check it because the title of the book is always a mouthful. What is it? A Guide to the Black Comics book community. Let me pull it back up. Joseph Illidge and a couple of collaborators were putting that together. It's the second year in a row they've done it.
Joe is so cool.
You know, I don't get too follically jealous, but he has really fucking cool hair.
Follically jealous.
I've met him in person.
Yeah.
He's super chill too. Yeah, I met.
seems it.
I traveled to Brooklyn one night for a comic signing with Damian Scott because
Oh,
he was the original Cassandra Cain artist. I had to take that opportunity to meet him. And Joseph was there, and we just talked for like an hour.
nice.
Nice.
I'd love to meet him. I hope so at a con someday because he's just so freaking cool. And I love heavy metal. It's such a cool thing, right? And he, Steph Phillips was like one of the first comics creators I got to meet in person. And So like she got to do the whole Tarna run and all that. I was like,
It's a great run too. She's really talented.
I always I tell my shop, like, if it's something that she's making, just put it in on my pool. Yeah, so the access guide to the Black comic book community. This is for 2021 through 2022. Really cool thing that they've done, and I'm gonna try to pull up so I can get the other names of the folks who worked on it, because I really should. Right, with comics beat reporter George Carmona and the owner of Anyone Comics, which is in New York City. This is gonna be terrible. Dimitrios Fragiskatos. I'm so sorry that I'm terrible at Polish names that have like an S, Z, Y, C, K together. No problem. You start putting like one vowel every other letter, and it screws me up. But yeah, so this is a really cool thing. If anybody didn't catch the Kickstarter and all that, they're basically put this guide together where Black comic creators can basically put their work in there, right? They've got themselves listed at, and what they do, writer, artist, whatever their specialty in the field is, and just like a little bit about themselves and the work that they have coming out for the given year that the guide is for. So this would be, like I said, 2021 through 2022. But we backed it at a level where we can put an advertisement into the back of the book. So did that, put it together for Magni the Mighty and Devin Arscott. Be coming out towards the end of the year. I don't want to say too much about it, but yeah, Chris was I was like, oh, we'll do that. That'd be really good. And then I told Chris, like, hey, you're going to need to make an advertisement.
By the way.
Yeah. So, like, every few months, I try to think of some really crazy thing to obligate him to.
Keep him on his toes.
Yeah, so there's that. Christ. Next big crowdfunding project will be Sentience, it seems. Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be cool.
Yeah.
Excited.
Gotta firm everything up on it, but we're like, what, 95% of the picture?
I think it's doable, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can do it.
Yeah, we've been looking at so many different ways to approach Sentience and Fell Witch, and we thought about doing them as like a combined campaign. Of course, you're combining multiple works in a single campaign. You're pushing, the funding goal and all that other stuff, but then there's other good reasons for doing it. And we were just, I don't know, dissecting this about in every different way possible until we could kind of come up with something that we really liked. But I think we're there.
I think so.
Not to put you on the spot.
For now.
Yeah. From the Static, which CJ's in. Yes.
Excited. It's my first Bard work. I was really stoked about that. And especially since I hassled you guys about a horror anthology too. So I feel like...
You are a hassler.
I am. I really am. Yeah. I'm like, we got to do this. I know.
Well, if you hassle us about it, we're going to have to make you do some work.
Do it.
And then the really neat thing is that we've got, it's one thing to be able to put out one issue of a series, but to be able to continue to follow that up in a regular publishing schedule, I think is probably like the scary thing, right, with picking up a series. So it's very exciting, and I'm very proud to be able to say that Final Gamble number 2 and Prospects number 4 are funded and in production. So I guess that's one thing that we can be happy with ourselves here in the first year.
Yeah, no kidding.
So very cool. I always got my cheat sheets, right? Because my Swiss cheese brain just doesn't remember anything. It doesn't. if I don't write it down, I will forget it. So if like I forget to email somebody or you don't hear from me when you're expecting, you should absolutely like throw something at me in some form. Yeah. Hush Rodin is still to come out later in the year. Jeremiah Sheck is the creator on that. When we got Bro D Can't Be Broken, it's coming up very quickly too. Ben Humaniac's been just pumping that out and teasing a bunch of stuff. It's really cool. I'm excited for that.
Ben's legit, really, really talented.
It's just one of those unicorns.
Oh,
that can
to be able to do the
do
writing
both.
and the artwork, like
Yeah.
that's so much
That's
talent
amazing.
in one person.
Yeah.
Gosh, but that's neat though because it's not strictly young adult, but it's a title that can safely be young adult while still being able to entertain a mature adult. So it's cool because like one of the things that Chris and I wanted to do when we started this was to be able to have a publisher where we're going to have something on that comic stand that anybody's going to be able to come in and pick up and find. They might not be able to find themselves in every single title, but at least one or two out of everything that we put out, someone's going to see and be like, cool, that's me.
And then there's my comic, which children should be kept 20 feet away from at all times.
That's for sure. But it's
I
fantastic.
think mine fall in that
You two
category
don't
too.
even know what goes on in these later issues.
I'm excited to see what goes on beyond issue number 6 because I just from reading those, like it's very clear this is going to go in some kind of just marvelously demented direction, but the story itself is just so freaking intriguing and cool, right? And the themes about how the rich and the elites of the world can just live in a completely different reality from the rest of us and use all of us for their own entertainment, but like in such an absolutely psychotic way that happens in Final Gamble, right? Where
You don't want to spoil too
I don't want
much.
to spoil too much, but you know what? Robyn, you speak the best about Final Gamble, so I should shut up and let you speak about it.
So first off, I will remind you all, this was written before Squid Game came out, so no one say I'm ripping off Squid Game.
Everything's been done before already, so don't even worry about it.
Originality is a fallacy.
Yeah, it's all about mixing and matching now. My first comic, Interstellar Dust, is like Con Air in space. If you've ever seen Con Air with Nicolas Cage.
Yes. Love Nicolas Cage. But yeah. So you read that first issue, you're like, okay, it's a bunch of people playing poker. What's the big deal? Why is this dude naked at the end? Where is this going? The next 5 issues will both yes, the art Jorge is making is absolute fire. The next 5 issues will sort of tell like the first real story in this world now that we've met our 3 core characters for this first arc. And this will basically get into a lot of themes of what I just think about the world, how I see it, how I see people as a whole, and what I see as the necessities to survive in this world where cartoonish evil no longer exists, because every day what we thought was cartoonish evil is done a million times, and done far worse things are done. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to sidetrack myself into thinking too much about the current news, but like all I can think about watching everything unfold in Ukraine is that whoever is dying in these, fields, Russians or Ukrainians, they're normal people, right? They're just, most of them are doing what they're doing because they need to pay the bills and they need a job. And the people sending them in to invade another country are a bunch of oligarchs who are almost like a real life manifestation of some of the people in Final Gamble. And
we really shouldn't make comparisons to a fictional work like that about an issue right now.
no, but it's so hard to think about how you try to go over the top sometimes in a story, because you're like, you need to have something a little bit exaggerated or something that's just a little bit more unbelievable. But then no matter what, reality still comes up and shows you as out of this world as you can imagine a story. Reality still comes through and then shows, no, it's not that far-fetched. But
to bring this back to a slightly less horrifying, depressing note, you were saying you were really excited to see what's beyond issue 6. Like I've told you before, I have a total of 36 issues outlined. I actually have been poking. I haven't really dug into it yet, but I've written like 10 pages of issue 7. And a little tease I can give for arc 2 is expect lots of electrocution.
Oh God. Oh boy, that's gonna be something to get to see these.
That like rang through my headphones like.
Neat. CJ, do you want to talk a little bit about the Cauldron?
Yeah. I'm really excited about that story. That was something that I was actually working on with Elyse Gonzalez, and really enjoyed her work. And it was a short that I had done previously, so it was already done, and I thought that it would work really well for it. It's kind of funny horror, which I like to write sometimes, write some humor in there, and it's about a clumsy witch. I'm a really big fan of Sabrina, and this is kind of like my take on it. Although it takes place, in Salem witch trials, 1600s, and it's really just about a witch that is not very good at being a witch, but it's pretty lighthearted and funny. But all of her antics end up with like some disasters too, so you kind of have to I guess you kind of have to go into it with a good sense of humor and being like, oh wow, she accidentally dropped somebody into like a boiling cauldron and killed them type of thing. Yeah, but she really means well and doesn't mean to hurt people. So yeah, I was really excited that Bards liked it, and I'm actually working now on hopefully we'll see on some other stories that we're going to talk about, that the guys and I are going to talk about later on. So talk about maybe doing some more, but yeah, it's something that maybe we'll revisit in the future.
I remember you were so nervous, like, am I going to get into the anthology from the Static? I'm like, dude, it's going to get in.
I know, you were really confident. I was like,
I was really well, because you showed it to me. I'm like, well, yeah, they're gonna pick that.
It's Elyse R. I mean, she's fantastic and really a joy to work with. So I was really excited to do that, and I was really excited that they picked it up. So yeah.
I didn't apply to the anthology for 2 reasons. One, artists cost more than I can afford to pay them. They deserve to be paid well. And 2, up until recently, I didn't think I could write horror very well.
But I made you.
She made me. I think it turned out pretty okay. You'll see that. I think next year it'll be coming out. Can't talk about what it is exactly, but hopefully you guys like it. She liked it. For those who don't know, Elyse and I basically brought each other into each other's worlds. She brought me into short stories. I brought her into comics.
Do the thing, Robyn. Do the thing, Elyse. Do it. Do it.
and we essentially read everything each other writes.
Pretty much. all the shorter stuff at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you have a hard time with like longer stuff. I know that's fine.
No, it only on screens. Like if it's printed,
Only on screen.
yeah. If it's in print, I can read. Like I've read the whole Game of Thrones series. It's just
Right.
for some reason like I can't read on a tablet, and if it's a
Yeah.
long thing, I can't focus on a glowing screen that long. I don't know.
Yeah. Reading scripts can be, like on a screen can be tough. Like, I totally get that. Oh, another guess.
This is Bug. He's special. Thanks, man. Get out of my water.
I was really excited for the anthology.
Get him back on screen. The cat booty is what the people want to say.
Cat booty. Really? You can't even see it through all the fluff anyway. No, this cat is the only cat I've ever seen that does not remember his food. He just
CJ, you actually just reminded me of one other thing I'm currently in the middle of that I forgot to mention earlier.
Oh, nice.
My degree, I went to college. I actually went to school for screenwriting. So I wrote a spec script and a pilot, which I am submitting to basically every competition and fellowship I can this year.
it's good too.
I think I can share what this stuff is. My spec script is for the show AP Bio. If any of you have seen that.
I have not. I've heard of it though.
Dude, you are not getting my water. Fuck off.
And my pilot is a comedy drama called The Saxons, following the lives of the children of a ruthless mob boss as they struggle to balance school, work, and romance with their loyalty to their mom's empire.
I like that one. I would watch the shit out of it. Seriously.
If this doesn't get made, I'd love to make it with Band of Bards as a comic.
Okay.
I could see it as a comic.
You always got our ear.
A very gory comic.
Apparently, that's what I'm going to be known for.
Gore.
Oh,
Nothing wrong with that.
So many projects. I mean, and especially with that superhero universe, shared universe that I was pitching the other day on Twitter, that kind of blew up. So I think you guys might have to do that too.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, we're already planning. Cal's already said he's planning on doing a sequel.
Is he really? I missed that. Cool.
I'll have to teach you about some more characters.
I guess so. Like I don't know a lot about comics like everybody else in the comics community, basically, because I came into it later in life. So I don't know all the superheroes, and I
Would you like to know some superheroes who are moms?
Who are moms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, there's actually a bunch of them. So one of them you've probably heard of through her Netflix show, Jessica Jones.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I've heard of that. Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
People love her. She's a mama.
Okay.
There's actually a lot of superhero moms, really. I think you'd like a lot of them.
It's true.
Good. I should get into that. But yeah, actually, Robyn pulled me into that amalgam anthology too. She said, hey, do you know any superheroes? I'm like, I really like Deadpool. But I don't know.
So I had to teach her about Ambush Bug.
Yeah. Find me a compliment to Deadpool. And she's, of course, got an entire superhero encyclopedia on her mind. So she just like vomited one up for me. And it was fun. So
Deadbug is so funny.
Deadbug, I would enjoy being able to write more of Deadbug. Yeah.
I could get behind a shared playground. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think Chris and I probably didn't expect to have the overwhelming response that we got, just to like the amount of submissions that came in general. I'm not just talking about the anthology, but like I would have never expected us to have like the full slates that we've got over the next couple of years. I mean, realistically, once I get everything lined up with all the other like one shots that we wanted to work with out of from the static submissions, we'll probably have most of 2023 and 24 planned out, which I don't know how, but in all the months of preparation that we had before we like, launched, it started just kind of spitballing different ideas of stuff that we would do, ourselves, or try to just farm out as like work for hire, because we can come up with an idea for a million different stories, but the amount of time on our own hands to make them was auspicious. But we have a bank of around a little bit over 24 original titles that we would like to explore at some point. So there's probably some superheroes in there. I know there are.
I was messaging with Chris too. I was like, when are you guys going to get into getting the rights to some series? Because I know Chris is a big fan of Arcane like I am. And I'm like, dude, you got to hit up Riot Games and let's get the rights to this thing. He's like, let me get back to you.
Okay, here's a fun game for everyone. What license that doesn't currently have a comic series would you most want to write?
Oh, right now, probably Arcane. I just think that the show was so cool. Like a comic adaptation would be awesome, but I don't even know how. I don't know. There's probably some lawyers you guys would have to contact.
You ever seen Norseman?
Yeah.
You want to do that, Elyse?
Yes.
Oh man, I could see it. That would be a cool comic.
Tim?
Oh gosh, I honestly don't watch a whole lot of TV.
It doesn't have to be a TV show. It could also be a movie.
But God, most of the movies I watch are Marvel movies. Oh man, that is a tricky one though. Gosh, what? My brain is so comics riddled. I'm trying to think of like what I've watched a lot of recently that just doesn't already have ownership. I should probably abstain from that one anyway. You have to come back to me. I gotta think about that for a long time.
Have any of you seen The Highlander?
Oh yeah.
As in, there can be only one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
yeah.
I would write the shit out of a Highlander
That'd be
comic.
good.
I would want to write a Highlander comic. I need to write a Highlander comic.
That would be really, really cool. Yeah.
Did Chris just put that 70s
Yeah.
show?
I think there's a hometown connection with that show. Mark Brazil, one of the writers on that show, I think. It has like a local connection to like the Dunkirk Fredoni area. Yeah. And I always hear weird stories about like the character Fez was based on somebody that he knew from area, and I think that was just a load of bullshit. But yeah,
I've never seen that 70s show, so I don't know who Fez is.
he was a foreign exchange student.
Oh, that sounds potentially racist.
Could have been. It's been a long time since I watched that show.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Some
Yeah.
shows don't age as well as you would hope.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, that definitely fit into the time period of the 70s. Like, you could totally see, like, everything being very authentic to it. So, like, sometimes when you're doing that, you absolutely probably don't realize you're writing something that could be viewed as racist or is racist or, any other kind of form of discrimination. You're just writing it as you remember. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's actually not really fucking cool that we used to do that.
Yeah.
Chris says he grew up in DKNY.
Yeah, Dunkirk, New York. So, yeah. Yeah, Mark
Yeah.
Brazil.
You know what's one other show I'd want to write a comic for that no one watched but me? Teenage Bounty Hunters.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It lasted one season on Netflix, and it is the funniest damn show I've ever seen. That is the type of TV show I'd want to write. Basically, it's about these two super religious, upper class white girl twins who, after busting their parents' car, end up getting jobs working for a bounty hunter to repay it, and find that their skills as rich Christian girls actually pay off in bounty hunting.
That could be a pretty badass comic, actually.
I could see it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't watch a lot of TV either.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else that my mind's a little bit mushy right now. But
I've always been really horrible about like keeping up with shows, so now I just have to continuously stream stuff and catch up on it. But then I'll find myself just reverting back to the same things I like.
yeah, your comfort shows.
Pretty much, right? 'Cause
It doesn't help that there are now a million superhero shows. No, I'm not gonna lie. I was always on the side of people saying, "Oh, superheroes aren't oversaturated. No way. People are just being annoyed because they are in high cinema." No, we have reached saturation. I'm getting sick.
Well, I saw something earlier that was like a schedule for Disney's movies over the next several years, and I was thinking, okay, they're keeping it to like 3 or 4 Marvel movies a year, and that you can't imagine having too many more than that. And before everybody's just like,
Yeah.
you eventually will.
It combines all the TV shows and DC's TV shows and the non-Marvel and DC superhero TV shows.
Yeah.
Like my brother was telling me, watch The Boys and Invincible. You gotta watch The Boys and Invincible. And Max, I don't care about The Boys and Invincible.
I have not watched Invincible yet. Everybody said to watch it. I'm just
this
like,
is my first time I've heard of it.
yeah.
Invincible is awesome. And The Boys is all those shows are, yes, we're oversaturated, but most of them are pretty great. Besides for like, maybe like most of the CW shows are not very good.
I just want more seasons of The Tick. Yeah.
You know what was the one good CW show that I really liked for superheroes? iZombie.
I never watched that one, actually.
Elyse, I think you'd actually really dig this premise.
I mean, I like undead things.
It's about a zombie who works as a morgue practitioner who gets her brains by eating the brains of the dead people that come into the morgue. And when she eats the brains, she gets some of their memories, so she uses that to help the police catch the killer.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I think Michael all read
I would love to have been in that pitch meeting.
the art for that series. That was a Vertigo title back in the day. Is that right?
Yeah, but it's nothing like the comic.
Oh, is it not?
No, in the comic, her best friends were a ghost and a werewolf. They're not even in the series at all.
Oh, those are the best friends.
Chris agrees.
Test the Chris seal of approval.
Yeah.
They're not all bad. I liked Supergirl quite a bit for several of the seasons. They always start off pretty good. Like, I feel like as time goes on, like with a lot of shows, like, they kind of run out of ideas maybe, but like Supergirl was pretty great for a couple seasons. Flash, Green Arrow, they're all pretty good. But then like over time, like I think budget issues and just kind of running out of ideas, I think eventually.
Supergirl has one standout quality for me, and that is Dreamer. God bless Dreamer.
Oh, on Supergirl?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really great actress.
Love Nicole Main's real life superhero. Elyse,
no pop culture knowledge.
One more thing about iZombie I think you'd appreciate. The main character, the zombie, her name is Liv Moore.
That could be like the ultimate dad joke.
Oh boy. I feel like Matt Ligeti would like that.
No, yeah. That's definitely up his alley. Maybe I should have written up agenda. I really, Elyse, you usually talk way more, so I was like, Elyse is gonna be on tonight. I don't have to write any notes because
I can talk. I'm just trying to let other
Wait, is
people
that how you
talk.
pronounce your name?
Elyse.
Okay, that's what I thought it pronounced. He said Elyse, and I was confused.
I said that, or he?
No, he said that.
Oh, it's okay. We knew
I
what you
mumble a lot.
meant. A lot of people called me Elsie
Oof.
growing up. Elyse. Really put the E emphasis.
Ooh.
I don't like that. Elyse. Oh God.
I could just tap on like a hard Midwestern, like Minnesota or Wisconsin accent onto that too. Oh.
Yeah, I got kind of sick of it actually. So when I went to college, I decided that I was just going to tell people to call me Cece. So
Aww.
for like a decade, everybody just called me Cece, and then I just switched it back.
Like the pizza?
No. But now I want pizza. No, I don't remember where the origins of it. That's what they called me when I was a kid, so I just kind of brought it back. But then, yeah.
So at least,
DJ, why are you ahead?
What?
All I can see on your screen is your head, like not even your neck.
Me?
No, CJ.
Oh, I'm leaning forward. I'm standing actually, so I'm kind of like leaning on the desk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If you call me Elyse on purpose, Chris, I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's not going to be nice.
Elyse, are you capable of not being nice?
I am. I can be mean. I can be so mean.
You can't even say it with a straight face.
No, I
You don't want to see that
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, if someone really, I think like if someone does something mean to one of my friends, I can be mean.
Well, no, if someone does something mean to your friends, then you're not being mean. That's
I
reactive.
can be mean like in retaliation. Yeah.
Yeah, that's different though.
No, I'm sure I can. I'm sure I have moments where ask my husband.
I've heard stories about your husband.
So I want to know, you two
love
both
you.
write prose and comics, right?
What?
Do you like writing one more than the other, and do you find that one is easier to write than the other?
Me?
Yeah, both of you, because you both write prose and I don't write prose at all, so I'm kind of interested in the process.
You should.
How
I'll get you into it.
Too much stuff going on with comics, but maybe someday, I don't know.
Do all the things, CJ.
You're an enabler. I'm interested in your processes and what you think and the differences with the writing.
Do you want to do rock, paper, scissors for it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right, ready? 1, 2,
Paper, scissors, then
go.
shoot.
I can't even see your hands.
Ah.
You could be cheating. You could be
Nah,
like adjusting it off camera. I had scissors.
I had scissors too.
Ready? Hey, I had scissors too. We have to do it again.
Yeah. Rock,
Okay.
paper,
Paper, scissors.
rock.
Damn it, our minds work too.
This has become a whole thing.
Fine. I'll go
Round
first.
right.
I outline the shit out of everything.
Oh,
no matter
okay.
if it's
We're doing this.
prose or I just like I won. I decided. I outline the shit out of everything. So whether it's prose or comics, I get an idea, I think about it for a few days, and then I should show you what a page looks like. Hold on.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm interested in this.
I have a full outline.
Oh my god.
Everything. And it just goes on and on and on. This is sentience.
Nice.
How much of that will you adjust as you're going through and like putting it onto like a final format? Will you be like, oh, I don't really like this part in sentience anymore, I'm going to make some adjustments, I feel like this is a better way to go? Do you
A
do that
little,
as you're
yeah.
like
Well,
transitioning?
there's two different kinds of writers. Kind of there's architects and gardeners, and I'm an architect. But one of the flaws of being an architect is that you can't. They're more rigid and they don't move with the characters as they grow organically throughout the story. So I try to keep that in mind as I follow my outline.
You're forgetting one very important category. Some of us are planters.
Oh yeah, yeah. But
Which is
what's
where
the combination between gardener and architect, though? Gartitect.
Architer,
I don't know.
Architect,
Dorkitect.
Garfield.
I like Dorkitect.
So how do you
I like
approach it, Robyn?
Garfield.
I'm sorry, what?
How do you approach it, Robyn?
So yeah, I was saying I'm a plantster, which is I have a firm outline that I have a definitive beginning, a definitive ending, and I kind of know what's going to happen in the middle, but not the details. So I leave myself freedom to work out what exactly happens there. Where I put all my detail, my documents on my characters go on for pages and pages and pages. Because to me, my core philosophy of storytelling, characters are everything. And for me, it doesn't matter how good your style is, how interesting your concept is, how well you build your world. If your characters aren't interesting, your story does not work.
Mm-hmm. So much detail in all of your character outlines too. They have a mole on the inside of their left ankle. Like it's just like every single detail. It's amazing.
In third grade, they spilled applesauce on their lap.
It was tragic.
That's cool though, because like when Chris and I were reading your pitch for Final Gamble, it was very clear to us as we read through it. Like there was a lot of detail put into it. There's a lot of very well thought out stuff going on behind the scene that wasn't necessarily in the script, but you could tell just by reading the script that there was a lot of the characters themselves already figured out. So it translates directly into that script, whether or not you're actually writing all the fine character details directly into it or not. And I think that is a really neat, good approach to have that like in almost like an appendix to your scripts is just the gigantic like character glossary.
Yeah, or just like a separate guidebook to the universe of Final Gamble. Character profiles. What is your process for writing scripts, CJ?
I'm kind of similar to Robyn in that I always know how it's going to start and always know how it's going to end. But I do give myself room for changes in the middle. And like I was writing a scene for a comic just yesterday, and I knew the outline that it was going to be 3 pages, and I knew the interactions that were going to happen, but I decided to change the setting a little bit because I thought like I was going into this potions room a little too much, and I wanted to make it more visually interesting. Still the same things were going to transpire, but I was like, well, why the hell does everything have to happen in the room? Why do the imps have to come to the portal? Why can't they pull her through the portal? And then it becomes more interesting for just a few pages, and then she gets back out at the end, and it's still literally the same thing, only it's told in a different manner. And I thought that was more visually interesting and something that the artist would like to draw a little bit more. And so I'll do that a lot. And sometimes I know everybody says you're not supposed to do this. Sometimes I do, though, but I'll write interactions with characters that I think are really important and I'll need to put in the story somewhere, and then I'll write the panel later. But I know that it's going to happen sometime. I know it's going to happen somewhere in the story, and I need to find a spot for it. So I jump around a little bit, and I think that is kind of important with comics, that you really don't have to stick to a minimalist or a maximalist style. You can give yourself a lot of room to breathe and a lot of room for editing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I do it. It's kind of all over the place, but I don't know. It works for me. Just giving myself room.
How did you get into how'd you get started with Intergalactic Academy?
It's kind of funny. I had, well, I still have a creative studio, and that's how I started getting very similar to Band of Bards. Actually, I was working with a guy, and we were developing comics, and we were probably gonna start publishing and gonna do something very similar, maybe bring in other people to publish under our brand. And then the lawyer that actually we were talking to help set up our LLC was working for a media company at Astra and said, hey, they're interested in getting into comics. Are you guys interested? And we were like, yeah, we'd love to do that. I mean, we're just doing our own thing right now. And then it just kind of developed from there. So it was really just by happenstance. They didn't know me or know any of my work, but we pitched them a concept that knowing that they would fully own it, but we would be able to write it and do what we wanted with it. And they took it on. So yeah, and now we're a couple years down the road. My partner has since left, and I'm not as focused on like developing like a publishing company as I am just like doing my own writing.
Yeah.
So you never know, guys. Like somebody could outreach to you, and you can get like a project. So yeah, always.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
They called you out of the blue for it, and then you called me out of the blue for it. It's just the theme of that particular.
This is how it works, and now we're and it's an important project to me because it's my only like work for hire project. It's not like it's big bucks or anything, but it's definitely something that I try to hone my skills at and practice with. And it's really developed from being something that was really educationally focused to now I have built up enough goodwill and said, can we make this a little bit more fun? Can I maybe do some superhero type stuff in this and add in some villains and things? And they're like, oh, you know what? That would be fun. Why don't you do that? And I'm like, you're going to own it anyway. Like, can I just like make some new stuff up? And so they're allowing me to do that still with an educational twist where it's like, oh, Professor Kerrang fired this lightning bolt, and Dynamo might be like, hey, do you know what lightning is? Like, yeah. So you have to have still that element in there a little bit, but I'm kind of calling it's like my Doom Patrol for kids with like an educational twist.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like the characters too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a great job writing them. I was really excited. Yeah. So you never know. I might be hitting you up again at some point.
Anytime. Although I'd prefer to not do the math one, but I can do it. I can do it.
Nobody said there'd be math.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at first when he contacted me, he said that I could do. I didn't have to do math, and then they were like, well, we kind of want one that's math. And I'm like, oh God, how am I going to do this? So hopefully it was convincing enough.
It was good, yeah, because it's STEAM-based learning. So a lot of people I know are familiar with like STEM-based learning, but also adding in art in there. So it's STEAM-based learning, and that's really what it's about. And it's about this professor in outer space that has this academy, and he wants to kind of unite the people of Earth through knowledge, and through that he thinks STEAM-based learning is the best way to see that to fruition. So it's like all of these wacky adventures these kids go on with robots and stuff, and Elyse wrote a great little adventure. My favorite is the tiniest adventure when they get like miniaturized and they go into a cup of pond water and they get to like swim around with all these amoebas and things. It was a really interesting story and really fun. And she did it in 3 pages, which was pretty cool.
It's kind of like a little bit of like, I would comp Magic School Bus.
Aww.
Yeah, a little bit of Magic School Bus in space.
That's
well,
cool.
Magic School Bus
with
did
more
go to
characters
space.
and not just science.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely math in there too. So occasionally I have to write a math story, and I'm like, God damn it, this kid has got to solve fractions.
Your math stories are better than the one I came up with.
PJ, you just gave me an idea for the story.
Oh yeah.
Steam Girls, a steampunk story about a group of girls who specialize in steam.
Write it up.
Do it.
Yeah.
Just an advantage to pitching to a little crowd of enablers. Do it.
Yeah.
But no, that the whole concept of solving the problems with math actually kind of reminds me of Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, where they would regularly. That was a book very much meant for little kids.
Mhm.
I loved it anyway.
It's okay.
And and the main character, Squirrel Girl, she was a computer science student. So they'd constantly work in situations where computer science is necessary to save the day, and this allowed her to teach the kids reading about computer science.
Nice. What you got there, Tim?
Is that a
Toblerone.
Twix? What is that?
Toblerone.
Okay.
Just your
Oh,
squirrel.
That's what they call a fancy Twix, right? That's
or something like that.
What's in it?
Um,
I've never had one.
Swiss milk chocolate with honey and almond nougat.
You ever had one of those Twix ice cream bars? Those are really good.
Oh,
No, but that sounds like
Those are
something
good.
I need.
Sounds mom. Yeah.
yeah, I'm
No,
a fat
nothing
kid.
beats the cookie ice cream sandwich though. Just
I'm a fat kid, so I
man,
gotta have
what's going
snacks
on?
nearby all the time.
Oh, I know how that goes.
Yeah, my giant freaking calzone that I had for dinner last night and lunch
What
today and
was
dinner tonight.
in that calzone?
It was a stinger calzone. I don't know how well if stingers are more of like a Western New York thing or what.
Yeah, I haven't
but
heard of that.
It's chicken fingers and steak.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so like if you have a stinger sub, it's basically like a chicken finger sub, however you would normally enjoy it.
how big is it?
It was huge. You
it-
posted a picture on Twitter.
Yeah, the place I got it from, it seemed like they basically took like the shell from one of their medium pizzas, which is still big. Like their large pizza is more like half of a sheet. So it was their medium pizza shell, like half filled with the chopped up chicken fingers and steak and onions and I think blue cheese and hot sauce. And then just folded over, and they called it a calzone. It was,
Just keeps going.
That was a little bit larger than I expected, but
So she said,
I knew I could set you up.
I couldn't help it. I should get a medal for all the times I don't say it. Basically, if you see me go like, that means I'm holding it, and that's what she said.
I think you get a Dundee for that.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so
I gotta know. I know we're running out of it, but I want to know, like, what got. I know you've talked about this before, you and Chris, but why get into publishing comics? I mean, I know I kind of know the answer already, but I just like to hear you talk about it and what drives you guys to do this, because really it can be pretty thankless in a lot of ways. You work with a lot of creators that have their own visions. You have a lot of complexities that you have to navigate, and I think a lot of people don't appreciate those complexities. Just with you holding up that comic, I mean, somebody had to write it, letter it, the production process behind it, printing. There's a lot. So why did you decide to take this on?
why? Because we're stupid, and what drives us is that we're masochists. No, so folks who have tuned in before, I gotta move stuff because I'll start talking with my hands. But if you followed us for a while, you probably have heard me drone on about it, right? But if not, maybe this will be new. The whole concept started in like 2015, 2016, and the original idea was pretty small in scope, right? I had finished grad school. I had more time and energy on my hands to think of things to start obligating myself to. And I am driven crazy all the time about the way like military stories and veteran stories are portrayed in popular media. like many other groups and different population groups, they're very much simpled down and distilled into, 2 or 3 main neat little boxes that the story is told as. And I just wanted to do something that bridged that civil military divide that's in our country, which is a pretty very, very niche academic field. I didn't really come across that term until I was just about at the end of my military service, and I came across it, book by Diane Mazer, who's, I still believe she's still a law professor at the University of Florida. So the idea was to interview veterans and to capture their oral histories, log it with the National Archives, so there'd be kind of like an academic side to it, and then start to accumulate these interviews into graphic novel length anthologies. And basically the whole point would be to show in a much more accessible medium more true and authentic stories of what service really is like, right? Who are the people who sign up to do these things, and why do they do it? Because you typically see in movies and TV, right, big special forces run around, shoot them up, blow stuff up, and that's such a tiny piece of that population. So very long-winded explanation for that. The timing was pretty bad in 2016, and just over the intervening years, we kept coming back to the concept every now and then and talking about it. And some point in 2019, we really put our heads together and started talking about things in much more concrete terms, and how, one of the big roadblocks to that is that it was conceived as like a nonprofit company, and there's a lot more stuff to go into that and make that successful. And it was such a niche thing that how do you really make that self-sustaining? The problem that we were getting at through that very small scope was authentic representation, right? Showing the world a more diversified view of veterans. The light bulb just kind of went off, this is a much bigger issue across comics and across just, American society, that there is very poor representation that tells things in an authentic way in a lot of our popular media. And Chris has the comics background, so that's why we kind of naturally went towards comics. I just like comics, but I can't draw for shit. I can write okay, I think. But I can handle the business side of things. So that kind of got us going. I think it got us a lot more focused and understanding how this could be a much more powerful tool and a platform for people to basically try to establish the space, and then for Chris and I to step back and let other folks tell their stories. I think that's actually the initial working title for the whole concept I had written down was Tell Your Story Project in 2016. And Band of Bards was the company name that we finally settled on for that. And, we basically expanded it from being that small scope to Band of Bards as it is now. With the original mission and the original intent, there is still going to be a series that we'll do called In Your Service. That's probably going to be something that is more of a long-term plan and goal. The past year definitely precipitated a little bit faster and in a different direction I think we expected, mostly because we tried to go into it with not pie in the sky expectations and keep ourselves grounded, that hey, we're going to spend about a year or so trying to just get ourselves out there, meet people, build some relationships, show that we're people that you can come and work with in good faith. But people came to us with their comics really quick, and I think it just shows that there's a big hunger out there for more publishers willing to take a chance or not putting up so many barriers to entry. And I don't know, I guess we found quite accidentally, we found an approach that appealed to a lot of folks. So everybody needs some dumb luck in life, I suppose, and that's how we've gotten to this point a little bit, is dumb luck. But I don't know, you're making me ramble, I feel.
No, you're doing good. I'll interject and say one thing I really appreciate about you guys is there are a lot of publishers out there. I'm sure people have seen one of my most popular tweets ever is me listing the publishers that accept unsolicited submissions. And there are a lot of publishers out there, but there's only about 10 or so that actually will take your submissions without having come to you first. So that's kind of a rarity, and that's something that I really appreciate about you guys, is you're willing to look at everybody's concepts. And of course, not everything is right for Band of Bards, but you're willing to at least look at it and see if it's right.
Appreciate it. We're not the best at fastly getting back to people. We do have quite a large backlog of submissions to get through, and I always feel bad when I see that stack. And it's just, it's at some point with everything that two people are trying to manage, something does fall. So hopefully we will get to our backlog of submissions and get some reasonable answers out to folks pretty soon on things that I hate to think that they're sitting out there waiting on us for an answer on. But we'll always say that we try to make the barrier low, right? Because that we want to, there's got to be a little bit of necessary gatekeeping, but at times the gatekeeping is just excessive. So we don't want to stick to any specific genre or format. We want you to come with a good, intriguing story, something compelling that has good quality art, and the most important thing obviously is that it furthers the Band of Bards mission of representation, diversity, and inclusion, right? So that could be through your story that you're telling, through the team and the team makeup, or a combination. All right, there you go. I saw Robyn having some freezing up here and there.
Freezing.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
Oh, there we go.
No problem. You didn't miss anything except me and my monotone. So that's kind of like how we wanted to approach this, and we try to make sure that we just keep on our toes and quickly change as we need to, but not allowing ourselves to be blown in any direction that people shout. Like when people harass you about doing anthologies. But
people.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I've heard stories about people who got jobs at DC and Marvel by harassing editors.
Really?
Squeaky wheel, right?
Yeah, if you don't ask, you don't get. I mean, it's a fine balance probably between like harassment and like and like trying to be the squeaky wheel, but it's like, it's definitely if you don't ask, you don't get. You got to put it out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very friendly and polite way of doing that is cool, because that from my seat, that's fan engagement, and we want that. We want people to like say, hey, you big dummies, do this, because Chris and I certainly don't have all the answers, right? We aren't trust fund babies that are sitting here in a pile of cash that mom and dad set aside for us. We're we identified so much with prospects because we are calling. we're just that mediocre fat slob in the book, and we're trying to get our way figured out through lives. That's me and Chris, and I know he'll agree with that.
No one should get into comics for money, so I really appreciate that. If anybody's listening out there, if you're thinking like everybody here makes like a lot of money doing this shit, we don't. Like,
Nope.
no, my
I have not made a dime from comics.
yeah, yeah. You do it for the
It's
love of
definitely
it.
the
There,
love of storytelling. Yeah.
yeah. You do it
It's
for
a
the
bit
love of
that,
it, and maybe you'll get lucky in some form. That's not to say that professional writers can't make a lot of money. Like some of the ones on exclusive contracts with DC and Marvel can do very well,
yeah.
and some independent creators that have big books and Image can do very well. But like my first book, I think I made $400 an issue after everything was all said and done. You know, you can't live on $400 a month, so so it's definitely for the love of the craft.
Yeah. It's a very difficult business, right? You have to sell massive numbers of every single issue, and that's really the trick to it. And there's a lot of competition out there, but again, the gatekeeping aspect of all that is probably what drives a lot of those problems, right? Because how do you sell a lot? You have to be able to get listed on the distribution, and then you have to be able to then, just because you get listed in the previews doesn't automatically mean you're going to be selling thousands of copies. You've got to then do the outreach to the comic shops and the retailers, and that's partly why we've got this approach of not just being beholden to only putting out floppies or only putting out novellas. And, we want to put out a very diverse mix of products, right? The business guy talking, but something where it also doesn't make us trapped into needing and relying on Diamond or Lunar.
Yeah.
Right? We can go through another system like Ingram with any of the longer one-shots, with Sentience, which really cool is going to be the American light novel. Chris is big on that format, and he can certainly talk better about light novels than I can, but it's a very popular medium in Japan that would typically have, roughly 10 illustrations per novel. And we're like, okay, this is cool. Let's bring that format to America and try to popularize it. And because that's certainly something that's going to stand out different from a lot of other things that publishers are putting out. And you got to do something that's different. You can't just turn out the same thing that the big two are doing and expect to get attention. So the American light novel, like anything else American, is just going to be fatter. It's going to have more illustrations. It's going to be slightly over the top, maybe a little boisterous. American. So can approach it with a little bit of humor, but I'm really excited about it because there's so much potential and so much excitement to try something new like that, and to take this format that's really popular in Japan, and just kind of scratching your head about why it isn't so popular in America too. And let's go for it and have some fun with this. Sentience itself is a really spooky story that I think Elyse has got a talent for melding together different things. So kind of horror and steampunk together, I think is what you told me.
Yep.
I won't try to describe your novel with you right here.
That's okay.
But and a neat thing too is Elyse kind of dipping into not just the comics community, but also in literary community as well. Can kind of bring those circles together to make a neat Venn diagram of people. Yeah. No, but it'll be cool because maybe then the folks who enjoy Elise's prose work will then not be so intimidated by, she's doing this, but it's a comic. I don't know. I don't really do comics. Well, they see this is a novel and there's pictures in it. That's cool. Maybe some sequential art in it too. And then they'll just become more and more a little bit more fanatical about following Elise's work. And then when there is yes, and then all of a sudden spring a comic on them. But it's a little bit of we've put a lot of thought into how we're going to roll this out, I guess, is the short version of my long-winded answer here.
I was really glad that you approached me with that idea.
Me too.
I was flip-flopping, like, publicly. Should I write this as a novel or as a comic? Blah, 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 blah. I'm lost. And then Chris was like, what about a light novel? Okay, I can have the best of both worlds. Sure. So yeah, I'm excited about it, and Danny's excited about it, and we've got some gorgeous ideas. It's going to be a fashion feast, and just the style will be different, very different.
It's gonna be awesome. Danny's really talented, as are you, so it'll visually look great and be great to read, I'm sure.
It's a lot of fun to write. Every now and then I'm totally out of context. I'll be like, Robyn, is it too much to do this? Like,
And I never
me for
say
life.
no.
Right, but then you say you scarred me for life. But do it anyway.
Yes. Because you want to scar people. That's what horror is for.
Yes. I want people to put my book down and go, what the fuck?
I don't know. What else do we say?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's your stream, man.
Sounds like everybody's got a lot of shit going on, which is really cool. I love to see that. And there's so many great up and comers out there in independent comics. I mean, there's this whole really cool community that I think we've established that's really supportive of each other. Yeah, and just
it's not competitive. It's way to go, man, and hey, you should come try this, and it's really nice.
Yeah, I think so. And it really shouldn't be competitive, because it's writing and creativity. It's like, oh, well, I don't like your story or whatever, but you might like something else that they wrote. So I don't know. It's interesting. I find it funny. Some people are very competitive. I did a con once, and I kind of did this whole thing on Twitter where I was like, this fucking guy like pissed me off, like, talking about, I was trying to be nice, saying I knew some editors, and he was like, hey man, I don't need you to read my shit, I know I'm good. And I was like, okay, that's great, dude. And then I remember at a con, a guy came up to me and he asked me how much my comics were, and I said they were $3.99, and he said his were $2.99, and he was like, so I think I'm going to sell a lot more than you. And I was like, okay, that's cool, I guess. I mean, it's not a competition though, bro. So, but those are only two instances. Aside from that, like, everybody is really cool and supportive, and everybody's just kind of in it to get better and try different things and collaborate.
I think because there's so much gatekeeping to break into comics, I was expecting the comic community to be more like that. Like, we're the cool kid table and you can't sit with us.
Well, there's certainly those people.
I mean, there's those people everywhere.
Yeah.
But I was very pleasantly surprised at the large comic community that is out there and accepting and kind.
Yeah. I was talking with a friend the other day. I'm not going to be a name dropper, but we were talking about just some of the difficulties with the people have working with distributors, mostly because they just you can't find a point of contact. Like, they don't list them, they don't make it easy to get in touch with them, right, and stuff like that. And
you gotta know a guy who
and that's essentially what she was saying, is that, like, a lot of people now are just relying on referrals for getting their books in, so like going under and having kind of like an umbrella publishing agreement through another publisher, or having a friend at another publisher that has that contact with the distributor, and then just passing it along. And then just said earlier, there's an old boys network no matter where you go, and that's just a gigantic pain in the ass. And I think one of the neat things though that creates a lot of, eventually it boils over to a point where there's enough resentment and anger among the people on the outside that they do band together and a bit of show of solidarity and find some creative ways to smash those systems.
Into a band of bards, perhaps?
Perhaps. So I did, not ready to talk about this one thing, but there...
Oh no, Robyn's gone again.
Yeah, it's not sure. Let me pop back up. I might talk to you, both of yous, not on the live stream about this.
Ooh,
but
we can have the tea?
Maybe.
Is this an official Band of Bards announcement that we're
No, it's actually a little bit larger. This isn't something specific to us. It's something that I've reached out to a few other small presses about. So that's why I really can't talk too out in the open.
A band of bands?
Something like that, yeah. But right, the whole problem is that there's so many small presses and self-publishing folks, and you get a group like the Phoenix Comics Collective. We're all out there, but individually we have very small bargaining power. But if there's a way to somehow collectivize these things, because the union member is always thinking in these terms, there ought to be a way to increase all of our bargaining power and a little bit of our purchasing power when it comes to things like printers, distribution networks, fulfillments, and just reducing costs as well is what that comes down to. And that you share different things and share different resources and share knowledge, right? Because attaining knowledge and some experience of how to go about and do things costs something, whether it's money or time or both, right? Like somebody who's really good artist and everything and can probably draw a comic out, maybe not necessarily understand how to do the final design work on the comic and get it formatted and ready to go to a printer. And while it may not take them forever to figure that out, it sure would be nice to have someone to help them so that it only maybe takes a day to do it instead of like a week or a month.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think that's an excellent idea. And I'd kind of heard of that several years back. Some smaller publishers were saying the exact same thing, Tim, where it was like, costs are steep for us because we're small and the print runs are smaller. So the economies of scale just aren't there a lot of times. So how can you scale? And oftentimes that's by partnering.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of different small agreements and partnerships like that. But I think to kind of have something that brings it a little bit more out into the open and not kind of closed off between just a few different parties for their own small benefit. But we'll see.
I like it. That's awesome.
Like I said, it's bigger than Band of Bards because it certainly is going to take a lot more energy and a lot more people involved to actually get something like that, not off the ground, but to sustain it too. So we'll see. Long-term thing.
Yeah.
But first we have to make sure we actually last a medium term before getting a long-term goal achieved. So again, so I say I would say the same thing is probably a good mindset for any comics creator at all is, have your immediate goals in front of you and what you want to work on in that short term, and always think about how those are building blocks for your medium and long-term goals. And make your long-term goals pie in the sky stuff. Like I have some absolutely nutbag ideas for what I would like to do, and maybe in 10 years or so. But those are the things that can help you understand why you're putting in the hard work to get to that next short-term goal. and the next one after that, and the next one after that, because eventually, you know, after you rack up a few of those short-term goals, before you know it, years have gone by, and all of a sudden, you've achieved quite a bit.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it can take a long time to find success. I mean, like a lot of us, you know, like I said, I submitted stories back when I was 16 years old. And, you know, now I'm almost 40 and finally just kind of inching towards like what I would say. I wouldn't say I'm success. People don't know me or anything, but it's like I have contacts at several publishers. I can pitch things pretty easily now. And I work with some good artists. I work with some great editors, and I have some great friends in the business now. So that to me is success. And if this is all that it is for me, I'm very happy with this because I find outlets for my stories. You know, I have some other long-term goals, but if it doesn't happen, I'm still doing this and I'm still having a blast.
Yeah.
I think, Robyn, you're in a spot where, you know, you've worked with Jorge, who's obviously had a lot of prior credits that then are attached to Peppo's, who's now got that big deal that was announced the other week to do Savage Avengers. And that's kind of neat that, like, to know, like, you're somehow in that vein, right? And, you know, even at the at the start of your comics career, you know, the fact that you've got a bunch of stories already scripted out and ready to go, and then a bunch more plotted. You've done all those, like, small term goals, and it's already gotten to a point where you've got a nice little bit achieved for yourself. You know. So that's really cool.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Working your butt off.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if anybody's got questions or anything else that anybody's got off burning in their brain that they want to talk about.
I don't think so. I mean, just amongst the stars, Elyse and I definitely want submissions. I mean, we already have 50, which I think is pretty cool.
Oh my God.
Yeah, just like opening up on Valentine's Day. So
yeah,
I think we'll get a lot more. And I know people are just
more.
And there's some other ones out there too that people should look into. I think like Purple Eyes is another cool anthology that's open.
I think Monstrosities is still open.
Monstrosities. I think Big Hype is officially open now, I think, right?
Did Volume 3 open?
I think so. If it didn't, it will soon, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's really cool what Doug's done with that.
Yeah, I think it's rebranded now. I don't know what he's calling it.
It's odd that he wanted to find like a different name for it going forward. But yeah, that's cool. And
definitely encourage people submit to those.
Yeah. Doug got oh gosh, what is it? Ultramax picked up by Source Point Press. That's neat. It's neat seeing like everybody having their wins. Yeah,
there's a lot going on. Yeah, that with various publishers and all pretty like creator friendly, which is good. I mean, that's another one that takes open submissions, which is great.
Cool. All right. Well, I do want to thank everybody for joining in and spending the time tonight. I know it's not always everybody's ideal way to spend a Friday night, but this is always fun for me.
Talking about comics isn't your ideal.
This is great. I mean, invite us back anytime. Well, I won't speak for everybody, but my light's going out here.
Talking to Elyse is basically how I spend every night anyway.
Very cool. I'm definitely going to want to have all of you back on some more. And I mean, Elyse and Robyn, we'll be having you both back on probably in the very near future here as Final Gamble #2 is approaching completion and everything. And then with Sentience and Fell Witch, and obviously then CJ being part of From the Static. We'll have to have you back on. We're going to want to have all the different creators from the Static either.
I was about to ask that if you're going to have people come on to
Yeah,
talk about the show.
absolutely. As I was like, we're ramping up, getting closer to the eventual crowdfunding campaign for that. We'll have just a kind of like a whole bunch of weeks in a row where we're gonna drown everybody and they're probably gonna get annoyed, but you're just gonna keep hearing about From the Static and all the different creators from that coming on. So
when does that one go to crowdfunding?
What's my rough calendar? Oh gosh, and I know it's like I'm gonna get roasted over this because I think we have like a firm date set, but June, July.
Oh, it is coming up.
Right.
For some reason, I thought it was in October. I don't
know. We're timing it so that we can get it into people's hands in October.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So
perfect.
You've seen some cool sample art for that?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Like I said, a few of the stories were like completely done at time of submission, like yours. But yeah.
Ooh, I have a question. Do you have a cover artist for that?
Denny. That's what I'm imagining is going through your brain right now.
I don't think we do.
Really?
Yeah. Chris will probably yell at me. He might.
He must not be listening, or he'd be in the chat. Like,
yeah, he'd be yelling at me. I think so focused on just the stories themselves and everything else, and the other things we got going on. I'm not even thinking about the cover for that book. So that's why there's a couple of us trying to keep track of everything.
I have them.
That reminds me, Tim, have you made any more progress on who you said might be doing the cover for Final Gamble #2?
We'll be on 3. Had to adjust back an issue for workload balancing and scheduling, but looking good.
Awesome.
Oh,
yes.
I know what you're talking about.
So, yeah.
Exciting stuff coming up.
Very exciting. Hopefully we'll have something to announce soon. But, yeah, things have been going good for that.
Is it night time?
It's getting there. It just
It
occurred to me that like we actually got through one of these streams and nobody was talking about Amorosa or whatever her name is, licking microphones and stuff. So I just wrote that.
Licking microphones.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Some more time. But I just realized how close I was to this thing, and that image popped into my head, and I ruined it all. So, on that horribly depressing note. Oh, a cat.
Another one. Yeah. This one's Noble. Say hi, Noble.
What makes him so noble?
He's not noble at all. He's a klutz.
Well, why'd you call him that?
Chief and Noble. They're brothers, named after the Halo video game characters. I did not name them.
No?
No, they came with those names when we adopted them.
I would have figured you for a Halo fanatic.
I've played some Halo, but I'm a Dragon Age Skyrim fanatic.
Ooh.
Skyrim is awesome.
Yeah. And a little bit of Left 4 Dead. I played a lot of Call of Duty in college.
Really?
Yeah,
I would have pegged you for a Silent Hill girl.
Nope. Yeah. And The Sims, if that counts. But I just like building the houses. I don't care about the people. Unless you can put them in the pool and then remove the ladders. I'm so sick. Or you like remove the toilet. And they just like run around in a panic. They're going.
I always laughed how many of those weird things that they would actually build into the game and let you do. And you just don't have them clean up their house for days, and all of a sudden crap just starts piling up everywhere.
I like it when someone dies in a fire and then the Grim Reaper shows up and starts like freaking out about the fire and going like yeah. I play a lot of Minecraft too, because building. And I like to like dig a hole in someone else's house and fill it with chickens, and then you like block it off so they come home and they just hear a bunch of chickens, but they can't figure out where the sound is coming from.
No Fortnite?
What?
Have I mentioned
Nope.
I love your brain?
No Fortnite? You don't play that? It has building.
No, I haven't played Fortnite.
You know, it's tough for me. I can't build that quickly. Like all these kids, they can build so quick. You know, so you're getting sniped by like an 8. You're getting sniped by like an 8-year-old and they're talking shit to you on there, and it's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah.
Like they've built like a whole like construct in like a matter of 30 seconds, and I'm just trying to build like a plank, you know, like
Like a little
yeah, to like duck behind so they don't kill me. Yeah. It's been a while since I played. Like I've been trying to be really good about like focusing on like scripting, because I'll get like pulled into stuff pretty easily and be like, oh, this is fun, I'm gonna play games now.
That's why I haven't touched World of Warcraft. I know what would happen to me if I did.
Oh, no, that's not the big
years.
thing anymore. Now the big thing is Final Fantasy 14.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
You know what would be funny? If we had some video game where we got a bunch of bards on it and live streamed it, just picked on each other through a video game online. That would be so funny. I don't know what it would be, but I
don't even know how to do
guarantee
that.
you I would not take it seriously. I would just be a total shithead to all of you.
I'll have to keep thinking about how to do that one then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the last time I played a game, I got the Guardians of the Galaxy game, and I think I got to play for about 2 hours, and that's about it. The PlayStation will be off for so long that by the time I get to go turn it back on, controller's dead and it needs updates. So then I get that done, and
Well, you have a few other things going on, you know.
Yeah. Just a few.
Just
yeah.
a few.
So, but hey, it's life. Anyway, I thought I was wrapping it up, and then we just
I'm sorry.
and then I
that
rambled.
was
No,
definitely my fault.
it's not.
You wanted me to talk, man.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
It is
This
getting
is how
late.
it goes. I don't have like a formal way to end it, and it's always super awkward at the end.
You need
I
a
was watching
sign off.
Something.
code
I
word.
need to make something.
Someone should
but,
just
like,
shout potato when they're done.
that might be
Yeah.
something. Like we need a safe word for ending it. I was watching.
And then the shit potato.
Yeah. There's anybody who's a fan of NoFX, the lead singer Fat Mike, he's got like a little podcast that he does now, and I was watching one of them, the episodes on YouTube, and he was getting to the end of his, and he's like, okay, we're at the end, and these are always super awkward because like people just don't know how to like end them and just sign off, so click. Just,
So bye, I guess.
yeah. Yeah, it's Fat Mike's Fat Mike.
That's funny.
Yeah, but anybody who bothers to watch me on Twitter or whatever for more than like 2 days will eventually get annoyed by some NoFX stuff from me. So, as I not very quietly break off some more Toblerone.
I'm like, it's squirreling again.
I am. I wish
I
could
would have
sit-
eaten that whole thing by now. You're doing a good job. Just kind of slowly picking
Delayed
at it.
gratification.
A little bit.
You have more self-control.
I've
Like that
actually been-
picture you posted earlier with a muffin in the background. If that were my house, There wouldn't be a muffin in there.
Oh,
There would be a
my wife made a
muffin.
couple dozen bran muffins the other weekend. I already had like 2 of them for breakfast before I even took that picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They
So,
were just a bunch sitting under the dish or whatever. And no, I have like 2 or 3 of those in a day. But they're bran muffins. So
They're
they're
bran.
healthy.
You got to get your fiber. Yeah.
Do.
It's important.
Especially the geriatric millennials.
Yeah, I mean we're getting older. Like, are you around my age? Are you like 40? Are you mid-30s or
30, am I 37 or 38?
okay? So I'm gonna be 38 in July. So we're in the hunt. So we need all the fiber that we can get.
I don't know.
This is very important.
God, guys. I think we can let people go so they don't have to think about how much fiber you guys have to eat.
I mean, you need to have an appropriate amount. I'm just telling you.
I
Like,
know. These are good, like, healthy living lessons.
yeah, there should be. We should do a comic about like, yeah, as you age, like an aging superhero. That
Oh my
needs
gosh, that'd
enough
be
fiber.
hilarious. Yeah.
That'd be pretty good.
Well,
Fiber Man!
Like maybe he has IBS or something, and he just needs like more fiber. And like, could you imagine fighting crime and you have like
Yeah,
these would be really hard.
Oh,
I can imagine that very vividly.
Can you just wait a second? I'll be right back.
Oh, gosh, someone was. You ever see those like crazy Zillow home listings that'll go up? Right, one of my friends was looking at one, and he's like, "Why do you need 26 bathrooms in a house?" And I'm looking at it, and I did the math, and I had to reply. I'm like, "There's exactly one bathroom for every like 2,200 something square feet of this house. That's why."
Math.
And he's like, "You're a nerd." I'm like, "No, I'm not a nerd. I'm just always aware of how far I have to run to get to the restroom." And that's part of getting older.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, folks.
There's the sign off we're all looking for.
Yeah, we should. That's actually great. It should be like a public service announcement at the end where we can talk about like something important, like fiber. And that's a great sign off and be like, today's topic is fiber. And then we'll talk about it and be like, hey, did you know this or that? And then somebody can be like, well, and that's that. Kind of like The More You Know on NBC or.
Yeah. I just wrote that down.
The less you care.
I'll have to think of that.
Yeah, or like, at the end of the G.I. Joe cartoon, there was always like a lesson. Like,
yes.
You guys would be great with providing lessons.
Because knowing is half the battle.
I should not be giving life lessons to anybody.
There's got to be something that you have. I mean, maybe not fiber like talk, but I mean, there's got to be like.
It can't be cooking. It can't be house cleaning. It can't be math. It can't be sports. I don't know. Definitely not eating healthy. Exercising.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks.
Oh no, my mouse died.